Hi, my name's Alex Josh, and I'm the host of Mindful AI Coding. Today, we're going to talk about scripting, and specifically talking about scripting in terms of how to save on token spend. One of the things that you hear a lot from people that use AI is that they exhaust their tokens really, really quickly. And when I first started teaching this class and started teaching people, I really didn't know how to help them. I wasn't sure about this. I don't consider myself an expert in token management or anything like that. But when you actually talk to people and say, well, talk to me what you're doing, walk me through your day, how are you using the product? What I realize is that it's really, really common for students, for my students, to use Claude or other AI toolchain just like a virtual assistant, which makes sense. And so if they want to do anything, they just ask the assistant to do it. And that I understand why they do that because it's easy. But then you realize, oh, there's a lot of things that they're doing that are just very repetitive. They'll come in every morning and they'll ask a question and they'll say, push this code, or they'll do things over and over and over again. It's like, you know what? Did you ask the AI to write a script for that? And they kind of look at me and like, what? They don't know what I'm talking about. It turns out that most of this stuff actually should be scripted, not directly from the AI. If it's a repetitive task like that, you're going to want to script it. And that is a really aggressive way you can go after your token usage, it turns out. The example that I use in my own work is I use a lot of Reddit. I talk to students on Reddit all the time. And so what I'll do is ask, every morning, I take a look at what's going on Reddit. And so what I did the first couple of times is I told Claude to do it, right? So, go examine Reddit and do this. And it worked. It was great. And I got a really happy answer. But then I realized, dude, you're just burning tokens every morning, asking the same silly question every morning. So then I said, okay, write me a script to go talk to Reddit. And it turns out it worked pretty much as well. And it was free. I was like, right, okay. So this is a lesson learned for me is that anything that's repetitive like this becomes an instant scripting candidate. So to me now, I'm at this point where I'm like, if I do it twice, I seriously ask myself, why isn't this a script? Why am I doing this twice? Uh, as an aside, I also use scripts for things that require an exact outcome. So, for example, when I push code to production, I have a script for that because I want that to happen exactly the same way. I want a certain number of security scans to run. I want an end-to-end test to run. I want to run it in the same sequence. And so that's another good reason to do scripting. Again, I'm not writing these scripts. The AI is writing them for me, but by asking the AI to write me a script instead of asking the AI to do the task, now I have that task running whenever I want it, and it's free. The other interesting thing is I see a lot of people that have this library of prompts that they keep in a document somewhere, and they just copy the same prompt over and over and over again into the UI AI. I'm not really sure why you're doing that. That's a script right there. So it may seem like a trivial thing to say, oh, well, scripts are good, but it turns out sometimes the easy things really work really well. And you can save yourself thousands and thousands and thousands of tokens just by doing something really easy, like creating a script. The only thing I'll add here is that the script is code, actually. And so you do need to treat it like code. So there's a little bit of a startup cost here. It's not free. You are going to want to make sure that the script actually works. You're going to make sure that it produces the correct output. You want to make sure it doesn't have any security vulnerabilities. Like, God forbid the script has your, AWS root login, tokens in the script. That would be terrible. So don't do that. So basic things like that. It's not, if you're using it to do things on the back end and things that customers will never see, you don't need to say have the same rigor as a full-on piece of code in your application, but you do need to treat it like code. And so what I do is I check it into source control. I apply security scans, things like that. I don't do like a full regression analysis end-to-end test every pass. I don't do that. So there's some testing involved, there's some rigor involved, but you don't have to hold yourself to as high of a standard when you're writing a script that's not seen by customers. So scripts, it's a good thing. So I would say focus on your prompts. Think about things you're asking again and again. Look for candidates to script. Save yourself a lot of tokens. For me, that trigger is pretty low. If I do something twice in a row, I seriously consider scripting it. Uh, the the advantage comes over time. So the more you run the script, the more tokens you're saving. So if you run the script once, you're not really saving anything. But if you run the script like every morning, well, then it's a no-brainer. But do use a little bit of caution, make sure the scripts are safe. Probably want to check them into source control. I have a special directory in my master project that has there, and I have rules that check them for things like security. So I'd recommend you do that. Okay, so this has been a very short subsection of the Mindful AI coding class, which is available on Maven. And if you found this useful, I would love to have you in class someday. So please do check it out. But in the meantime, thank you very much for listening and have a good day.